Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Coffee with the Critters. Thanks for bearing with us. The program that I'm using has downloaded a new application, so it took me a couple minutes to get all 38 photos and videos of a guest that we're going to be having on today. Let me see. Okay, this is all new. So text on screen. Let me see if I can do this. Show. Yes. So today's Coffee with the Critters is going to be with special guest Elizabeth Nitz and her octopus, Anya, who is going to join us here on screen in a couple of minutes. For those that may be new, my name is Laura Joseph, owner of the Animal Behavior Center. We are an international educational center where we teach people across the world how to empower animals and the people that care for them. We do that through our live streaming services that you can find. Let's see if I can do this. You can find on our website, which is theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. You can always reach me personally at my email address, laura@theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. Sorry, I forgot to turn off my phone. So a lot of things have been happening this past week. Number one, starting with me having the flu. So here's to your health. Good morning, Maggie. Good morning, Keith, Julie, Ray, Bobby, Jennifer, everybody. I'm excited about this episode of Coffee with the Critters. Elizabeth Nitz is going to be joining me. She was supposed to come on with me a couple of weeks ago, but we had to reschedule due to the Animal Behavior Center having our delayed Christmas party the middle of January. So Elizabeth has agreed to wait and come on with me today. So a couple of things that have happened over this past week. Let me think. Oh, yeah. Last week I was at speaking down in Houston where I contracted the flu. At the Houston Parrot Festival, which was fabulous. That happens the last weekend of every January. A lot of great content, a lot of great speakers, a lot of great networking, and a kudos to them. Something else, a couple other things that are happening. There's a lot happening here this week. This week, we will be getting a new resident here at the Animal Behavior Center. Anybody want to take a guess at what that resident eyeball is? Anybody? Anybody? As I'm sitting here scrolling through photos, trying to get certain things off my screen. There we go. It's going to take me a while. We have 38 photos. Adrian, it was good seeing you last weekend as well. Everybody down there at the Houston Parrot Festival. So anybody want to take a guess? Our new resident that is coming in this week. I will meet her for the first time, maybe tomorrow night, maybe Tuesday morning. Anybody want to take a guess of what that eyeball is? You're going to see a lot of new animals, a lot of different animals coming up here on the Animal Behavior Center's Facebook page and in our streams. Bobby says reptile. No, but close. Well, not really, not even close, Bobby, but nice try. Anybody else want to take a guess? If it looks a little prehistoric, you're correct. Maggie says cassowary. No. Shelley says cockatoo. No. Nice try, but getting close. Karen Pratt, our manager here at the Animal Behavior Center, she says she knows. I know you know. Don't cheat. Anybody else want to take a guess? If you cannot guess, you'll just have to find out when she arrives. She will probably be here on Tuesday, but we need to get a little enclosure built for her really fast. which I'm heading to the zoo immediately after this live stream to get that ready. Okay, let me go. Just give me one more thing. So if anybody wants to follow the work that we do here at the Animal Behavior Center, you can follow our work on Facebook. We're very active on Facebook, do a lot of live streaming on Facebook, on the Animal Behavior Center's Facebook page. We also have an email newsletter that we send out every couple weeks. You can find that right here. Excuse me. On our Facebook page. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on our website, theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. So I think without further ado, because I'm watching Elizabeth in the background, and she's watching something happening over her shoulder. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on Elizabeth and introduce her. And then I want to tell you how I met Elizabeth. I just met her actually last night for the first time. And hopefully I will meet you in person sometime soon.
You're not far away, so
No,
hi.
no, you're just up in Livonia, Livonia,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
So you're
So
about 50 minutes north of me.
yes, and you're close to a good zoo, so
Yeah.
there's definitely reasons for us to go down that way.
Yeah. So if you and your husband and your kids ever want to come down and visit, let me know. Visit the Animal Behavior Center. We're right outside of Toledo in a suburb called Sylvania. We have a 10,000 square foot center. It's a former greenhouse that we've turned into a huge animal training center where we train lemurs, ostrich, turkey vultures, what else? African crested porcupines. We have a kookaburra here currently, turkey vulture, a couple of lemurs, but those animals are consistently changing. So, welcome, Elizabeth. Thanks for coming on with us this morning. I
Thank
can't tell
you.
you how excited I am. I'm a huge octopus fan. I'm not going to pretend like I know a lot about them. I don't, but I've been following Dr. James Woods for quite a while and reading a lot of his research. You and I both spoke yesterday. We're both on tonmo.com. It is an online magazine for octopus lovers, fanciers, researchers. Um, you belong to the same group as well, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Yep. They any cephalopods that you could keep in the home aquarium, so that would also be cuttlefish too. And the fun thing on Tonmo is that people journal their animals, so you can kind of read along and see what's happening with people, live vicariously through other people's octopuses and cuttlefish.
Yeah, and I've wanted to. I don't know if I've necessarily have started wanting to keep an octopus, but I wanted to interact with them. I like showing people how fascinating many creatures are that people may not be familiar with, and the octopus is one. I've always wanted to show enrichment, training, interaction. So I've been following Tanmo for quite a while and was looking at, I know you can't just buy or have any tank created.
Well, yeah. So that's definitely before you keep an octopus, you absolutely want to have some really good foundational skills when it comes to keeping saltwater fish or saltwater tanks. Um, and that's going to be getting good at keeping the water quality, the water chemistry, just getting into habits. You really want to figure out what happens to cause, say, a crash in the system when you are only having fish as opposed to an octopus. Um, and then one of the other things about keeping an octopus, and the same with cuttlefish, is that you're dedicating your aquarium to pretty much that animal. So in my octopus tank, I don't keep fish, I don't keep other fun animals. I have some other cleanup crew animals, which help eat whatever is down at the bottom of the tank. Um, but is going to also be based on what the octopus is not going to eat. So that kind of leaves me with pencil urchins in this particular tank. Uh, so when you're going to keep an octopus tank, not only are you going to have a tank that you have to engineer toward keeping the octopus so that the octopus is not able to get out. That's obviously a huge consideration. Um, my tank is actually this tank is 20 years old. It's been set up for several years now, and I didn't start keeping an octopus in that tank until it had been running for about 9 years. So that means it was a really stable tank. I wasn't going to kind of get weird chemical changes for no particular reason. So then once I had this nice stable tank, then I had to make some other decisions. I could keep some nice low light corals with the tank or with the octopus, but when you are starting to keep corals, then you're getting into more light, and octopuses don't really want to come out when there's a lot of light on. You're dealing. Then you're going to deal with an animal that you're not going to see all day long. I like to say octopuses are a lot like cats in a fish tank. Um, they sleep when they feel like sleeping. Which is usually they're going to usually be crepuscular, which means they're active at dusk and dawn. So kind of, and a lot of animals actually are crepuscular. We think about them as not diurnal. You see them in the daytime, but they're usually kind of napping. Um, so the active times, and the cool thing for me in my house, those are going to be times when I'm active, when we're active here in the living room. So it works out well for us in the morning when we're doing things to get ready. For the day, in the evening when we're coming home and having dinner and interacting in the living room, that's when the octopus is coming out. But if you want to have an animal that's going to be hanging out and playing with you all day long, an octopus is not for you.
Yeah.
Because, like I say, you know how cats work. Cats are going to interact with you based on their feelings about it. Same with the octopus. They want to sleep right now. You're not going to see them. And I've actually had people say, you say you have an octopus, but I've never seen it seen it in there. And as well, you have to come and visit during the octopus hours, not during what works best for us.
Right,
So,
right.
so then like I said, so then you're not going to have like we have other fish tanks for fish. We have other fish tanks. This isn't the prettiest tank in my house. I keep other tanks for looking pretty. This tank has a lot of live rock in it, and that is uh, rock that's been seeded with uh, bacteria that's good for the water quality. Um, and the octopuses really like it. They like to play in the rock, in and around the rock. They like to mimic the rock. So live rock for octopuses is a lot of fun. That's like their playground. But frequently people are like, "Oh, that tank looks like a box of rocks," and it is because it's geared toward what makes the octopus happy. So
The way it should be.
that's how I feel. But
Yeah. So, you before we show some videos of Anya, and before you stand up and turn around, because you've been telling me some things about Anya last night and this morning. I've watched the videos. She just seems so fascinating. She seems so interactive that she wants to interact with you. Now, some things are happening with her now that is slowly starting to change. But can you tell us what species of octopus is Anya?
so Anya is octopus briareus or Caribbean reef octopus. So she was collected in the Florida Keys. I don't know exactly where, but I do know the collector that I get her from is a small family owned business. So she's a Floridian octopus, but these guys occur in the Caribbean.
And right before the live stream started, Elizabeth, you were saying sometimes how you acquire these. Do you mind mentioning that?
Not at all. So Anya and the other Caribbean octopuses I get usually come from the same collector, KP Aquatics. Again, they're a small family-owned collector in the Keys. They have licenses, so they also aquaculture this live rock that I was telling you about. So if they go out and they're pulling in pieces of rock to sell. Sometimes there are hitchhikers. Sometimes there's octopus in that rock that they don't see till they get it to their facility. Once it's in their facility, um, then they've got it. It's not necessarily even responsible to take it back to the ocean unless you can know exactly where it came from. So they might come in as hitchhikers, and then another way that they can acquire them is if they have shrimpers, crabbers, local fishermen who have set out their traps. And sometimes octopuses will go in those traps looking to get the crabs and shrimp and other animals that are in the traps. But then when the fishermen come to collect the traps, they find an octopus in there eating what they had hoped that they were going to be able to sell. So it used to be before the hobby, those animals were just going to get chopped up and used as bait. Um, but now that we have the hobby, those octopuses are available to us to come and live in our living rooms instead of being chopped up and just fed to other ocean animals.
Okay. Okay.
So, so we like to say occasionally we get a rescue octopus.
Sure. In in that octopus that you can bring into your home, what a great way to educate the public.
Oh, then that's another reason why I love Octonation on Facebook, why I love Tonmo. These are ways then that I can share what I have going on in my living room with everybody. Everybody doesn't have the experience to keep an octopus or even really want to do the work to
Because it
do
seems like
it.
a lot of work.
So right. So live vicariously through me.
There you
That's
go.
when my kids were growing up and they would have friends come over and their friends would say, Mommy, I want a snake. Mommy, I want an octopus. Mommy. And I would say, No, no, no. We have that at our house, so your mom doesn't have to. Um, and I definitely feel that it's so much fun to be able to share what we do here at our house, especially with octopuses, with the public at large.
And you share a lot of that. Like I do want to give a special shout out to Warren Carlisle from Octo Nation because he's the one that introduced me to you. And Hillary Jaffe is the one that introduced me to Warren. So I have become a fan of Octo Nation. And Warren's like, you got to talk to Elizabeth. So he's the one that put me in touch with you. Um, Elizabeth,
Big shout out to Warren.
yes, Warren. He's awesome. He even called me on the phone and talked to me for like an hour.
Oh yeah.
What an amazing man. We have, before I show some video of Anya, we have a couple of questions. Can you answer them real quick? Because they're kind of
Oh
correlating to
absolutely.
what we're talking about. Um, Kimberly Megason and Jill Weissman ask, how long do they generally live?
So that is definitely a question based on what species you have. The smaller dwarf octopuses, those guys can live 9 months to a year. And a lot of us have heard of the bobtail squids. Those guys are only living for 6 months. The ones that I keep are warmer water octopuses. They're on the smaller side. I don't want to keep anything I have to take too many people to help wrangle. Um, so Anya, her species is going to live a year to 18 months tops. And that's usually when you're getting those 18 months, they're usually in captivity where we're able to keep them from being eaten by other predators and where we can give them a constant supply of food. Um, so in the home aquarium, but then if you keep the other types that are a little larger, anything that you're going to have to keep with a chiller, which is an expense that I haven't gotten into yet. So if you're keeping a Bimac, those guys may be 2, 3 years. And you see, one of the reasons they keep the giant Pacific octopuses in the zoos is those guys can live 3 to 5 years. So those are some of the longer living ones, and that's why you see those guys most often.
Okay, great.
So as a pet, not a very long lifespan.
I know, and you were telling me some of this stuff last night, and I was like, no. Um, Kimberly also asked, what's the biggest predator of an octopus other than the humans, meaning what eats them?
Oh gosh, all kinds of things eat them. Seals, sea lions, whales. So lots of things much larger than humans are going to be their predators out in the ocean. Um, I think when it comes to wild predators, I don't know if humans actually rank up there as their largest predator.
Um, okay, let's I have a couple of photos here that before we start showing some video, I'm looking for one. We had some up close photos of the arms of Anya. What is this in particular?
Oh, so that is actually that's a covering of a sucker. It's kind of like cuticles on human nails, that skin around our nails. So she sheds the lining of her suckers kind of regularly, and she was just kind of doing her beautiful, running her arms along the surface of the glass there, saying hi to me, and I caught that picture of that sucker shedding just about to come off. Sometimes in some of the videos that we show, especially she very much likes being active when we're cleaning the tank, um, in part because she's active with us, but also she likes when the water level goes down, then the water coming in just is very splashy, and it's a lot of fun for her to play in. But then you can see that at that point in time, there's a lot of particles in the water, and that's a lot because she likes to do a lot of sucker shedding when we're doing water changes too.
Here's
So
a little
that's just
video of
kind of
top
regular,
down.
you know,
Oh,
just
my
just.
my fellow wrangler better come back, though.
Sorry, I don't know how to oh yes I do. Mute that. Um
Oh yeah, because my videos, I am not the best videographer when it comes to keeping the volume off when I'm taking the videos.
oh,
So
that's okay. I can show it again. Sorry, I'm still getting used to. Here we go. Show and screen, play. Oh, this must be a different one. Is it going to play?
and then there's frequently video where you can hear the dogs in the background. Anya, Anya more than any of my other octopuses has taken an interest
Here's
in
a
my
little video of
dogs.
top down.
Um,
I
Oh,
saw that on your personal
my
Facebook page.
my fellow
Yes,
wrangler better come
that's
back, though.
frequently we find that they don't particularly care for dogs so much. They're really unpredictable. They jump around. They're loud. They don't approach. Well, and I don't think
Here's a
my
little
dogs are
video
really
of top
aware too
down.
much of what's in the
Oh,
fish tank. The
my
cat is
my
definitely
fellow
aware
wrangler better come
of
back, though.
the octopus. The dogs aren't though. But when the dogs get busy here in the living room, Anya has always been really interested in coming out at that point and watching what they've got going on. Her den is not what
Here's a
I
little
would
video of
choose
top
as
down.
an octopus
Oh,
den. I have
my
lots of really
my fellow
great
wrangler
pieces
better
of
come
rock
back,
that they're
though.
not the prettiest rock, but I chose them because they have great caves and holes, and they're in there, and they're all these awesome hiding places. And she's chosen a den right up against the glass, against the wall. It's pretty exposed. And I honestly believe it's because it gives her a perfect line of sight to the dogs when they jump on the back of the couch and bark at the other dogs going by on the sidewalk. So,
So is she, as I'm searching for this one video where she's real, I mean, she seems so interactive with you. When there's a video I have of here that you gave me that you come up to the side of the tank and she's like, she swims right up to you. I'm going to try to find it. Um, Does she seem to interact like that type of interaction?
Yes. Yes. And people will ask me, well, how can you tell she's not just trying to get out? Um, so if she's when we're not in the room and it's a time when she would normally be taking a nap, she's down in her den doing her thing. I have the house has hardwood floors. We don't have carpeting. So you can really kind of feel when we're walking around in the living room. So frequently all we have to do is kind of walk around if and she knows we're here. Um, and she'll come out and just start on the inside. She'll come around and kind of come toward the top of the glass. When she comes toward the top, then we know, hey, she's come up here. She knows that she's going to interact with us here at the top. So that's sort of like her way of asking for interaction. um, Sometimes we could just be sitting on the couch and then maybe she's just kind of going back and forth, but she's not at the top of the glass. She's just sort of just cruising the glass. Sometimes she's just kind of checking us out, what's going on. Like I said, she might be checking out what's going on with the dogs. Um, but then toward before she started to build her brooding den, she was definitely getting to the point where if we were on the couch watching TV here in the evening, she's spending almost all of her time right here. She really would have preferred to have us just sort of sitting here with our hands in the tank all the time.
That's what I would
Uh,
be doing.
yeah.
So in this video, when I was watching this, you're constantly pulling her arms and her suckers off of you.
Hmm.
Why?
Because we don't want to get bitten.
Because
um,
will she bite out of curiosity?
yes. So I kind of liken it to, like a baby, they explore everything with their mouth. She's tasting with her suckers. She's using her beak. So a freak. We have definitely had lots of different octopus experiences where you just feel a teeny little, not a bite, just I would even caution to say nip, because they're not trying to break through the skin. When they want to break through the skin, they are going to break through the skin. Um, but they usually kind of just lightly try first. And then if you continue to roll them off of your hands, that's kind of keeping that beak away from any of those tender parts on me. And then we make a very specific effort to keep playing time separated from feeding time. And Anya would like to combine them. Um, but I'm very strict about that because I don't want to get bitten. So, like when we feed Anya, we're going to put some food on the end of a stick and offer that to her. She wants to play tug of war then with the stick, and that's when we'll just nope. We drop the stick. We leave the stick with her. We let her know if we're going to go in and do something different, like when we're cleaning the tank. Um, then I might have a long handled brush. My husband might have a long handled brush. One of us is actually going to use that brush to do some cleaning in the tank, whereas the other is going to be using the brush to play with and distract Anya, so
I,
that yeah, because one of us has to be able to do the work. Um, I've had some octopuses where I could service the tank without anybody else around, and it was not a problem. Um, Anya is definitely one of those octopuses where we don't open the tank unless there's somebody else close by.
because she
Because
will
I
try to come out.
She will, yes, yes. Some octopuses really don't raise their eyes or mantle too far above the water level. She would like to come all the way out and see what's going on out here. And no, nope, everybody stays in the water. That's one of my rules.
I would have a hard time not putting my arm in there and just letting her. I'll be like, I'll take the bite. I'll take the bite.
Well, so they have found that they're not quite sure to what degree they might be venomous, but they've definitely decided, let's just make the assumption that all octopuses are venomous to a degree or another. But you can also get a infection from
Okay.
a bite. So we just always have this prescription strength of antibiotic on hand. So
Just in
um,
case.
yeah, well, yeah. So I did get one bite last year. Actually, it was the first in 11 years. And I actually, because I let it happen, it was a smaller octopus. And I figured, let's just see what happens. And then as soon as he broke the skin, I cut off contact. And then, yep, it was straight for the antibiotic.
Yeah. Well, we have another question, and that question might lead us into something you're prepared to do live for us this morning. Somebody has asked, where is it? Kimberly again asked, what is her favorite food?
Mm. Well, they eat a variety of different things. She gets shrimp that would just be regular shrimp that you'd get from the shrimp counter at the grocery store. I prefer to get wild caught. So I give her wild caught shrimp and Atlantic salmon because I happen to like grilled Atlantic salmon. So I'll cut off a piece before we cook it. Um, she's got, when it comes to live foods, because I like to do a combination with my octopuses of stick feeding and free feeding. Um, so they always get a lot of hermit crabs in their tank. And then when I notice, uh, slowly they'll kind of eat the hermit crabs as they want to. And I've had octopuses actually that just quit eating hermit crabs altogether. But she's had hermit crabs and fiddler crabs are another thing that I can get for live foods.
And I
So
think as I
I
say,
like to.
I thought I had a photo here of her eating something. Maybe I was wrong.
There might be. I know. I maybe sent some photos too. Occasionally they'll pick up a snail or a hermit crab and just kind of play with it. I always, or you're being so mean. Yes, there we go. So there, she had picked up the snail. And she wasn't really. She was just making the snail very nervous. She picked it up and she was playing with it. She was pulling it. Actually, she kind of was showing it off to to me. Um, she went right to the top of the tank and was, as soon as I opened the tank, she ditched the snail and wanted to play.
That is
So
so.
that was actually one of the first times where she was really obvious about coming to the top to play. So, but yeah, there on, she's not actually eating the snail. Like I said, she's just making it nervous.
I have to be
Um,
careful when I start laughing because I start coughing and then it doesn't stop.
But
Uh,
I do. I like to combine the stick feeding with the free feeding. You hear a lot about enrichment, and enrichment is important. But I really stick with things that they're going to be a little bit more natural to their environment. Um, so that's definitely live foods would be one of those.
okay.
So
Do you want to try to see if we can see her? I know you said she's starting to brood
yeah,
and see if she wants to get something to eat.
yeah, absolutely. So let's see here. Let me turn this around here. So my husband has just made a piece of shrimp on a stick for me, and I'm gonna try to also not make everybody motion sick by turning my. So this is the tank that she lives in. It's a 55-gallon bow front tank, so it definitely gives us some weird perspective with the curved glass, and it's deep, so that makes it a little bit unusual. She's in here along the back, along the side, and I don't know if you can see her back underneath those orange toys. That kind of blob, that little white blob underneath the orange toys, is Anya.
To the
So
bottom,
I don't know if you can see her or not,
to the bottom right of the orange, correct?
and I can't hear you anymore, Laura.
Oh, hang on.
So here I'm going to go in with the stick and that's a huge chunk of shrimp. Oh, and luckily she did absolutely take it. And now we can also see some of her eggs under there.
Great. Can you hear me now, Elizabeth?
All right.
Elizabeth, can you hear me now?
So,
Oops.
I don't hear you anymore, Laura.
Ah, this damn thing. Hang on.
Okay. So hopefully, there we go. We can see Anya. I'm going to close the tank, but we can see her eggs there. I wish we could get a little up. There we go. So she is eating that shrimp from the bottom of the stick. And we can see here that she has laid her eggs directly to the wall of the glass. This is the first octopus that I've ever done this, have seen do it that way. Um, and the best, I really didn't like this choice of 10, but if you'll notice, the wall that she's on, if I can show you the windows right next to it, and there's a couch, and there's people with dogs. So she can actually, so from where she is, she can actually see the dogs. And that's actually why I think she built her
Den
den
where
where she
in.
did. Yep.
So can you hear me again now, Elizabeth?
Yes, you are back.
Okay, good. I'll never take myself off screen again. I was trying to take myself off the screen so we could see Anya a little bit better. So she did take the food.
Yep, she took the food. It's down there somewhere. I was very surprised this morning. Some of this rock right here in front was piled all the way up in front of her. I could not see those eggs or anything until this morning. She is the one who pushed over the rocks. I don't know why. It's up to her, and I just have to trust that she knows better than me how to take care of herself when it comes to this part.
Yeah, and you had told me this morning that you found out that her eggs were not fertile, correct?
Yes, as I'm looking at them now,
How do
as
you
far
know?
well, as far as I can tell so far, they are clear. I don't see any little animals developing inside of them. Now it might be that she's only just laid them, so uh, I have to consult with people who know better than me now if it's a possibility that babies will grow and it's just so early on right now that I don't see them, or if it's nope, if you don't see anything, there's nothing in there. I'm
Now,
unsure.
what would you do if they were fertile?
If they are fertile, so now we come down to there are two different types of octopus eggs: small egged octopuses and large egged octopuses. I'm lucky because this is a large egged octopus. With a large egged octopus, you will have babies that hatch out as benthic babies. That means they're going to hatch out and live at the bottom, on the floor of the reef. So they really are basically super tiny adults. If you get small egged octopuses, those are the ones where you get hundreds and hundreds. Large egged octopuses are more like tens of eggs, as opposed to hundreds of eggs. The small egged octopuses, those are hundreds and hundreds of eggs. They hatch out as a paralarva, and they have to spend some time being pelagic, which means they swim around and uh, before they settle out onto the reef floor. So if these were fertile, then you have to remember that not all of them are going to be viable, because it's quite frequent that animals have eggs of things that really were never going to live anyway. But then, if I had enough babies that actually lived, then I would be able to raise them up from
Okay.
infancy.
And
So if I ever got to have a problem where I had too many octopuses, that's a problem I'm going to be happy with and take. But I have yet to actually have that problem. So
I was going to say, have you ever had any fertile that have hatched in your tank?
yes, unfortunately, it's always the ones that are the small egged octopuses, and there's nothing we can do with those in the home aquarium. This is my very first time of being lucky enough to get a female large egged octopus. For whatever reason, the luck of the draw, I just usually always get a male when I get a Briareus. So far, I haven't had that luck yet. Um, and seeing these right now, I'm not feeling super duper confident. But like I said, that's one of the cool things about Tanmo is because there are people who have a lot more experience than me
That
who
you
are
can,
going to be able to help me out with this.
and that is great. And they, everybody on Tanmo is very, very eager to interact
Yeah, yeah,
and eager
they're
to
a good
help.
good group of people. All right, I'm going to turn this around now. Because can you see? I mean, because I can see just a tiny screen on my phone, so I
Yeah,
don't know if it looks cool or not.
yeah, we can see her. We can see her arms moving around down there. You left the stick in there, correct?
Yep,
Yep,
yeah,
we can see the stick moving.
yep. That's up against the power head. That's just creating a nice flow of water in the tank.
Okay.
I can keep holding it like this too. She's
No,
prettier than me.
well, that's okay if you want to flip it back around and come back on screen because I still have a lot more photos and videos to show of her.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll give her a little break there, and let's see. There we go.
That was so cool, Elizabeth. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. I'm glad
And
that like I said, I was so surprised this morning because I was really pretty sure she had those rocks completely covering her den. Um, so she's really been cooperative. She's been a very cooperative girl for us because we really wouldn't have seen anything. Like I said, I was so surprised this morning when I came out and she had moved that rock off, and then I could actually see the egg. So that's super cool.
so now, I want to make sure I play all the photos and I'm going to start going through the rest. I mean, play all the videos and start going through the rest of the photos. Do you want to explain to everybody about brooding and what's going to happen now?
Yes. So, um, just there are lots and lots of animals that are going to lay eggs, whether they're fertile or not. And octopuses are one of them. So, this is part of her regular octopus life cycle. She's going to go through this pre-programmed cell death. They go through a senescence. Um, with the females, when they lay their eggs, like I said, they're going to lay their eggs fertile or not. They'll build a den. Usually, it's far more impenetrable than what she's built here. You'll come out one morning and it's really kind of a bummer because you'll see all of a sudden you look over and there'll be this crazy structure in the tank and every little shell, every little rock, everything will just be tightly packed together. Um, and then usually when you see that from that moment, it's going to take about 6 weeks for those eggs to develop. Now, I know last Friday these eggs had not been laid yet. So these eggs only were just recently laid, which is why even though I don't see any babies in them, I have to check with some other people to know whether maybe some are going to grow in there or if they get laid and they're just completely clear like this. No, I don't know. So then she's going to spend the next 6 weeks or so, regardless of whether they're fertile, um, keeping them alive. She's going to be using her siphon to gently let water flow over the eggs to keep them clean. If there were predators in the tank, she would keep the predators away. Really, there may be some bristleworms, but that's it. So that's not really a huge worry for
Down.
us.
Oh,
And
My
if she
fellow
was in the
wrangler better
wild,
come
she would
back,
not be
though.
hunting at all during this time. She wouldn't be getting any food whatsoever. I've had some brooding octopuses take food. I've had some brooding octopuses
Here's a little
completely
video
refuse
of
to
top
take food.
down.
So
Oh,
when she does
my
take food, that
my
means
fellow wrangler better come
maybe she'll
back,
live a few
though.
days or maybe a week after the period of incubation for these eggs, but really not too much longer. There's nothing that we can do to get past that pre-programmed cell death. If she wasn't accepting food, she would become autophagic, which means she's going to be eating her own arms, her arm tips, and that's really, really sad to see. And if you have a male octopus, he's going to be going through basically the same sort of process, a little different. A male octopus is still going to be going through a senescence. It takes about 6 weeks to. It's really, really hard with males because they frequently become more friendly during that period of time, and they're out. You see a lot of a loss of coloration. They become very kind of dull grayish. Um, and even if you're feeding them and the males are taking food, quite often even the males become autophagic toward that end period of the life. Um, and then they just die. There's nothing we can do to combat that. It's going to happen in the home aquarium. It's going to happen in a professional aquarium. It's going to happen out in the wild. Um, Possibly with male octopuses, maybe they can live a little longer in the home aquarium because like there's fewer predators, more food. Sometimes when you get a female octopus in the home aquarium, she actually starts to brood sooner than she might have in the wild because, well, now she's got a perfect environment. She's got never ending food source. She's got no predators whatsoever. And that can be really heartbreaking when they come in and say, oh, wow, this is the best place ever to have babies. And you're like, no, live longer.
Right, right. Stick around for a little bit first.
Yeah, so I feel super lucky with Anya. When she came in to our house in October, she actually I was contacted by KP, which let me know that uh, they don't keep octopuses just sort of on the shelf like a grocery store. You know, they only collect them when they know somebody who is uh, a reputable keeper. Um, so they contacted me to let me know that they had actually Anya and one other, and so I took her, and when I saw how large she was, I was like, oh well, she could brood any time, um, and luckily she was just super super interactive. Just really, She's very interested in everything that's happening on this side of the glass.
Is she one of the most interactive octopuses you've had?
Yes, I would definitely say that. I've had some very, very interactive octopuses over the years, um, both male and female. I don't know that I've ever seen that one. Probably Anya. My other most favorite octopus was called the Onceler. And she was actually the last thing she did before she died was we had taught her to wave. We taught her to wave. She'd go on the glass and we would go like this and she would wave at us across the room. Uh, and the very last thing she did when she died was wave. And
Oh,
that was really tough. And she was a small egged octopus, so there were like several hundred babies in this tank. Uh, and then over a couple of days, they died. And again, in the wild, those basically become plankton. And if one or two of those guys live onto adulthood in the wild, that's pretty good. So So I would be overjoyed if some little baby started to form in these eggs. And like I said, if I ever get to have the problem of too many octopuses, uh, that's a problem I would love to have. I'll worry about it when I get there.
Right, right. So, are you planning on getting in another?
um, yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I do keep several different tanks. We have about 16 tanks, half our saltwater, half our freshwater. I do actually keep, I have some freshwater fish that are very long lived fish. Um, and I did purposely start keeping things that have a longer lifespan in order to help offset the octopus loss because that can be tough. Um, when I have once an octopus passes, I usually always wait a month or so. I just kind of let the tank cycle. Maybe I'll replenish the cleanup crew. Um, I'll just kind of, wait until I personally am ready. Sometimes I'm more attached to them than others. Sometimes other personal stuff is going on. Also, getting an octopus is not always super easy. They're not just always available. There is a certain amount of seasonal availability. Um, right now in the wild, octopuses on your sides are doing this. They're brooding and dying. And then you'll go through a period in the spring where they're kind of all babies and they're very difficult to get. Um, and even, gosh, if they can be elusive and stay away from the collectors, that's okay with me.
Yeah.
um, but eventually one will become available, and then yes. But I have had times where I took a break because the loss is difficult. Um, but I just keep this one dedicated octopus tank. My daughters are both at Wayne State University, and I I do joke around that someday when they're farther down the line and we have extra money, um, I definitely want to do cuttlefish as well. Cuttlefish can be really fun because you can keep more than one cuttlefish together. Uh, that's
Um,
another thing about octopuses. You cannot. Well, there are a few different dwarf octopuses where you could keep more than one, but most octopuses you're gonna keep them by themselves. So that's you're making a commitment on a lot of levels when you take an octopus. And this tank just works so well for the species that I like to keep, um, that I really just, it's a dedicated octopus tank. Um, we just let things happen in there as they do. I keep it pretty natural. It's really funny. The first time, there's a few things in there that are toys, but I have found over time, people say, "Well, give them some Legos." Well, they don't do anything with Legos, to be honest with you. It doesn't really matter what it is. If it's a stick, they like to play tug of war. Um, but I really find that the natural environment is what they seem to be having most fun with and be most comfortable in.
yeah. Julie Faflick asks, why can't you keep octopus together?
Um, More often than not, they're going to fight. And some species of octopuses, when you put more than one together, they'll fight until they kill each other. So there are some kind that even when they're mating out in the wild, the males are pretty wary. Because there are definitely some species of octopus where if the male hangs out too long, the female's gonna take him out. She's gonna kill him. So, and then there are some that live together. So that's really really based on species. But the things that I can keep in a home aquarium are species that don't live well with each other.
Yeah, it has been suggested. My friend Dr. Jason Creighton, he works with a lot of different animals. He's the one that said he knows I'm a big octopus fan. Um, is that an octopus on your arm?
Oh, wait.
Other
This
side.
one is
Oh,
no. husband. Well, yeah, it's my husband in octopus form. It's my husband in his most perfect form. But yes, I have actually quite a few octopus tattoos.
Okay. I've got one. I don't think I've ever showed it to anybody. It was one of my first tattoos. I got a sleeve. But yeah, and he's not finished. So there he is.
Ooh, oh, he's gorgeous.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Yeah, I don't think I've ever shown anybody this.
Well, I feel honored.
Thanks. Thanks. Um, so it was suggested to me because I've been a fan of octopus for such a long time. I'm dying to interact with one. I would probably cry if I could. But it has been suggested because I know they're a lot of work. Jason suggested you should look into cuttlefish.
Yes. So cuttlefish are cool because you can raise them from eggs. I say this, you can raise them from eggs, but then you have to go through this weird period of time where you have to have a lot of live food to offer them, and then you want to wean them off of the live food because keeping the live food is the most amount of work. That's the hard part. But you can definitely and it's actually getting a hold of cuttlefish eggs is not that difficult. Like I said, getting the cuttlefish to wean off of the live mysis shrimp is that's the tough part. Um, but then once you get them weaned off of the live food, uh, like I said, you can keep in this tank. I think I could keep like three. So you can keep them together in groups. They have their own set of things you have to worry about because they swim like backwards. Excuse me. So you have to worry about them bumping into the tank. They give themselves something called butt burn. And they whack into the side of the tank, but that's a different story entirely. But they're just amazing creatures. You get to see a lot of the same display. Um, with the colors and their skin. Just really, yeah, really, they're cool animals too. I just don't have them because it's more work.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, we're coming up on the hour, Elizabeth. I cannot thank you enough for coming on today. You've been very generous, very gracious. I appreciate this. You have started my new year off very well.
Well, thank you.
If people want to follow the work that you're doing, where do you suggest they go?
Well, absolutely tonmo.com. Because I'm not the only person who journals my octopuses. There are lots of different types of octopuses and a cuttlefish. I'm not sure who's keeping cuttlefish right now, but so that's one great place. I definitely keep my Octonation. Those guys get a lot of my stuff on my own Facebook page. I kind of share uh, everything that's going on at my little zoo here. Actually, we were joking around that we need to make a Bentley Street Zoo YouTube channel so that we can have videos of all of our stuff.
You should. You should. I know
I just lost her. I don't see you anymore, Laura.
She put up the tunnel. She put up the tunnel logo.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. My back. Can you see me now?
Now it says you are currently waiting to go live.
No. Okay. Nope. Sorry. Can you see me now? Can you see me now?
The comments are pointing out that she's lost.
Okay.
Can you see me now?
This up here so you can read through here.
Okay, cool.
You're
Can you
back.
still see me or no?
I can see you.
I see that, but this is time delayed.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Everybody's saying they
I
can
don't
see
hear
me.
you.
I'm back.
I don't hear you.
Ah!
I don't hear you, but let's do this. Okay.
Keep an eye out.
Here we go.
Okay. Well, people are saying, okay, let me do this. Elizabeth, I can see you. Okay.
I'm just gonna keep it on that. That's more exciting than me.
Okay, she's on now. At least it looks like it. But maybe you want to flip it back up so she can say the line.
Can you see me? Can you hear me now, Elizabeth?
All right. Well, I don't hear her, but oops.
Oh crap. Okay. I'll try it one last time. Can you see me now, Elizabeth?
Let's just go ahead and end.
All right.
All
Bye.
right. Take care, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.